Okay. Say hi, Grace, if you want.
Hi.
Oh, hi, Grace.
What's up, Grace?
I didn't know we were
Hi,
recording.
Grace. Okay, so we're recording. All right, so today, what we're doing, factoring trinomials. Factoring trinomials. Notice the only difference here from what we wrote yesterday is there's going to be a number multiplied times the x squared term, or the variable squared term, instead of just a 1. So we're going to go through what do we do when that first number is not a 1. We have an extra step to throw in. Okay, when it was a 1, it was very easy. You made that little factor chart and you just wrote out the answer. This is not that much more difficult because you know already how to do the little factor chart. Okay? So the top is staying the same. Don't worry when we go to the next thing. Okay, here's our example for that. 2x squared plus 15x plus 18. This is the thing that our instruction is going to be factor. Now we look first of all to see if there's anything in common for all three, and there is not. Okay, so we always want to do that first, but in this case it's not. So our first step, this is a little bit different. We can't just take this 18 because this number right here messes us up. This is the A and this is the C. So our step 1 is going to be to multiply these two numbers together. Before you can begin to do your factor chart, you have to multiply that front number and that back number together. All right, trust me, it's going to work out. It's a very good method to be able to solve these that will take you much less time and much less heartache than the way I was taught in school. Okay, it was a lot of guess and check when I was in school. This is just a very nice method for this. So first step, multiply this number and this number. Okay? And I'm going to put up my reveal tool because I don't want you guys getting too far ahead of me here. And I need to go to the next slide here. Okay, this is the same thing you saw a second ago. Your step 2 though. You're going to use that number you got, that 36, to make one of your factoring charts. Okay, just like we did in the ones that had a 1 coefficient, but we can't just use this number. We have to multiply first and then use this number. So what that looks like is you set up your chart, and you're going to look for factors of 36 and find out what they add up to be. And we're looking for a total of 15. Okay, we're still looking for that number in the middle unchanged. So our first factors would be 1 and 36. Ooh, what did I do? Whoa. That's a 7.
That's supposed to be 37.
But it's supposed to be a 36. 36, and then this is supposed to be a 37. Sorry about that. Wow. I don't know what I was thinking. Thank you for forgiving me. That's good. You need to do that to go to heaven. Okay, so 1 and 36 give you 37. And then 2 times what?
18.
2 times 18, which should give us 20 when you add those together.
And 3 and 12.
Okay? That one's not our 15. Remember, we're looking for 15.
Found it. 9 and 4.
3 and 12.
Whoa.
3 times 12 gives you 36. Now notice what we did. We went right in order. Once you find that, you don't have to look for more factors, because yes, 4 does go into 36. But once you found your goal, once you found that middle number, you're done. And we're going to do something with this 3 and 12. It's not quite as simple as when the coefficient here is a 1. We have to do a little bit more. Okay, but this part's the same. You still have to do your factor chart. You still have to find out what numbers, when you multiply them together, give you this one, and you add them and it gives you the middle. Okay, is everybody good on that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, a couple people are good. That's encouraging. I'm not getting rid of that yet, but we're adding a step. We're going to expand the polynomial. We're going to take this polynomial, okay? And we're going to use that 3 and 12 to rewrite it so that it looks like this. Okay? We bring down the 2x squared, you bring down the 18. 15x gets split up into 3 and 12. And believe me, this is going to make a whole lot of sense. When we combine, this is what we did yesterday, and we combine that with what we did the day before. It's just a little bit longer of a problem when you don't have a 1 coefficient. So you've got 2x squared, 3x, and 12 came from factoring it out. And the 18 is just bringing it down. So we're taking this polynomial and writing it in a new form. Okay? Make sure, has everybody got that written down? Yeah. Now remember, this will be up online, and it will be, like slide by slide like this. So it's broken down into steps, so you don't have too much all at once. Okay. All right, so after that, once you get good at these, you're not writing, it's not so much writing because you're used to it, but you need to know how. Our fourth step, this is what you just wrote, right? This is what we just expanded, 3x and 12x became 15x. And we're going to factor it by grouping like we did 2 days ago. Okay? There's nothing in common across all 4 pieces of the polynomial, all 4 terms. But there is something in common in the first 2 terms, and there is something in common on the second 2 terms. What's in common for these first 2 terms? X. And what's in common for these second 2 terms?
3.
2, 6. 6 is the biggest one. We want to look for the biggest one. So when you bring that apart, x comes out of the first 2 terms. X times 2x gives you 2x squared. X times 3 gives you 3x. So you're looking for factoring it by grouping. And then here, 6. 6 will come out of the 12, and 6 will come out of the 18. And we're happy when these match, right?
Yes.
Okay? Because who remembers what comes next once they match?
You take you simplify x plus 6 times 2x plus 3.
Okay, I heard somebody whisper it, but 2x plus 3 and 2x plus 3 are in common, so they're common factors again, so they get pulled right out. 2x plus 3, x plus 6. Here's your x, here's your 6. 2x plus 3 is in common, and it's multiplied times x plus 6. Now that may seem like a whole lot of work because I made it on a whole bunch of different slides with all those steps. But really, all we did was add 1 step to what you already knew. Okay? Yes?
Is it always going to come out even like that? That the 2x plus 3 and 2x plus 3?
As long as it's factorable, yes. But if you go through, if we go back to this chart, and we look at this chart, and you've gone through all the possibilities of factors, and everything you try, and you've tried everything. I mean, literally, you've gone through and made sure you've covered everything, and nothing comes out to be the middle number. You say that polynomial is prime, and that means it can't be factored any further. Okay? I will show you an example of that, hopefully, before we get to the end of the day. But this is a really, really important concept for you guys to get. Now, how would I check that to make sure it's right?
Foil.
Good. Good. We would multiply it back out. Most of the time we think of it as FOIL, so we're going to check it. First terms are x times 2x, which is 2x squared. Outers would give you 3x. Inners will give you 12x, and the lasts would give you 18x. There it is. because you put the like terms together, and there's your 15x. It matches the original, so that must mean that we were right. So your answer is right here. And the answer is right there. Okay, x plus 6 times 2x plus 3. Okay, and very, very, very nice system to be able to solve these. Like I said, when I was taught it in school, it was mostly, here's the problem, guess and check. And it was like, it was very impressive. So I like this method a lot because it gives you something to go on. All right? So this must mean that we're going to need to, we're going to do a whole bunch of other examples of it, but I have one more thing that we need to take a look at. Don't always assume that you're going to go for this multiplying thing just because there's a number there. Okay? There's a special note. Always check to see if there's something in common across all three terms before you start just multiplying these beginning and ends. Okay, so this one, 3x squared minus 3x minus 18. What is in common? What's the common factor across all three terms?
3.
3. 3 goes into 3, 3 goes into 3, 3 goes into 18. So start by factoring out a 3. So that makes 3 times x squared minus x minus 6. Now this is just the beginning part, because then you need to factor this polynomial. So we factored out the 3. Okay, then we need to factor, I'm doing it on a side so that you don't lose what we're doing. We need to factor this one. Okay, we're going to keep this 3. It's going to come down with this, but this can be factored again. There's a 1 here, so that makes it simpler. How do we do that? That's from yesterday. Make the chart. And what am I finding factors of? Factors of negative 6. So, well, we could try negative 2 and 3. When I add them, what do I get? Positive 1. But I want
2 and negative.
So I must need 2 and negative 3. 2 and negative 3, that gives me negative 1. Okay, so this means this part, when you factor it, turns out to be x, and what goes in this slot? Plus 2, and what goes in the other slot? Minus 3. Okay? Now, this isn't my whole answer, and this isn't my whole answer. I have to put it together. My whole answer is 3 times x plus 2 times x minus 3. This is my answer. Because you have to factor completely. Now that was much less work than if you had multiplied 3 and 18. As a matter of fact, if you multiplied 3 and 18 together and did all that work for that, you still wouldn't be factored completely, and you'd have to do another step at the end. So always, always, always check to see if there's something in common before you start going down those other roads. It's very, very important. Now, most of the ones on the sheet that I gave you don't have you checking. They don't have something in common. But just make a mental note to always do that, because it can happen, and then it makes your life a whole lot easier, and it makes your factoring complete. Okay, are we good on this one? All right, so let's go through some more examples of this. Now, first of all, anything in common here? And this one's on your sheet. Which number is it? 2. So this is number 2 from your sheet. For those of you that want to take a look here. All right, so nothing in common, no coefficient here, so what number are we factoring? Not negative 3. What do we have to do first? We do have to multiply. Jared, what are we multiplying?
3m squared negative
3 and negative 3. So 3 and negative 3 gives you negative 9. Don't forget, if there's not a 1 here, you have to multiply the front end and the back end first. Now we can look for factors that give us a negative 8. So
Negative 9 and 1.
negative 9 and 1. Let's do that. And it always helps to start with the 1s and then kind of work your way through so you don't miss anything. So this is negative 8. And I can't conveniently just write my answer. What do we have to do first? We need to rewrite it. 3m squared. What do we do with this 1 and 9?
Oh,
Plus 1m minus 9m minus 3. All you're doing is you're taking this middle part and you rewrite it using these factored numbers that you found. Okay, now we need to group it, right? Watch out for those negatives, they can be tricky. What's in common for these first two terms? M times 3m plus 1. Okay? M times what gives you 3m squared? M times 3m gives you 3m squared. M times what gives you 1m? M times 1. All right, now we've got to do our minus here. Negative 3 goes into both, right? Negative 3 times what gives you negative 9? 3m. Negative 3 times what gives you negative 3? 1. Now remember, we're hoping that these match. So that can sometimes get you started, and it does. So now we have the thing in common is 3m plus 1 is in common. And we're factoring that out of m and a minus 3. Okay, so you check to see if there's something you can factor out of all three. If not, multiply these, then factor to find that middle and expand it. Okay, so really, look, it's not really that much work. I just did it in 6 slides so that I could show you what you were doing. Okay? All right? Don't worry, we have more examples. Let's check this one out. Anything in common? No? And you're like, oh, because you see 18 and 5. You have calculators, guys. How much is 18 times 5? Get your calculator out.
Negative.
It's a big number, but it's not
18
huge.
times 4.
95.
Negative 9.
Negative 90. Can you have your calculators handy just to help yourself do
Yeah,
this a little faster?
It's negative.
Negative 90? Good. So since
You have 90.
you're good in doing that in your head, that's
I was 5.
wonderful. But for the rest that aren't that fast, please have them handy just to make it work. All right, now we have a positive in the middle. So should we be looking for the bigger number in the factors to be positive or negative? Positive. It's positive because when you add a positive and a negative, if the positive is bigger. So we're going to be looking, let's check negative 1 times what gives you 90. The sum is 89. That one didn't work. Does 2 go in? 45?
Yeah.
So what is negative 2 plus 45? 43.
And then
That's not our answer yet. What about negative 3? Negative 3 and
30.
30, which gives us
27.
27. Not the right answer. Yeah, sometimes you can just go with that, Jared.
Closer.
3 and negative.
How about -4? No. -5.
30.
-5 and
Oh wait, that's not
Oh, yeah,
right.
18.
-5 and 18, which gives us 13. Not quite there yet. Are we getting somewhere? -6
No.
divided out.
Oh, man.
90 divided by 6.
That's not open.
How many?
15. How much is -6 plus 15?
Looks right about.
9.
Nine.
The right
We
answer.
finally got to it. All right, so 18y squared minus 6y plus 15y. Sometimes it takes a while to get there. Minus 5. And then we need to, what is in common for the first two terms?
6Y.
6 and y. 6y times what is 18y squared? 3y. 6y times what is -6y? 1. What's in common for these last two terms? 5. 5 times what is 15y? 3y. 5 times what is -5? -1. Happily they match.
Wow.
So we're ready to write our answer. 3y minus 1 is in common. Multiplied times 6y plus 5. All right, and I think that, I mean, I had a whole bunch of examples, but I think it's
Time to go.
time, isn't it?
Yep. Oh,
So we need to stop for the day. This assignment isn't due till Friday because it's Wednesday night. So, will you,
My arm hurts so badly.
It's not. What's Friday?
It was like, I was just
Wait, what?
Well, my other arm was
I don't
Really fast lunch. That really
Yeah, I'm afraid of her. So
so bad.
wow.
I win. I win.
You have a chance. Oh yeah. That's not good.
Maybe I changed my ways.
Did you do some of it?
Oh, let's just have to stay here. See, geometry.
That's in a class. So kind of.
I go over like, are we gonna do doing test like after the
a little bit. I'll explain once everybody's in here.
realize that you need to do a little bit more than I thought I did.
We'll probably need to do a little bit more. I want to.
So weird. We just have to change seats and have to get.
Get yourself settled. I do want to work it out so those that want to pray get a chance to go pray today also.
Well, I'm so like recently. We had a quiz in my last class.
I'll break it.
Was it a good or bad?
No, I will.
I think